have a video for you that I think when you first watch it won't seem as significant as I think that it is. I think it's indicative of a very consequential phenomenon as we're now fully in a war with Iran. And we've been covering this, the incoherence, the disorientation, the lies, all of it. But one of the questions we haven't addressed much is that given we know this to be very unpopular, and people have been floating around numbers about this is the most unpopular war when it's starting, the United States is going into, that we have polling data on or something to that effect. Point is, very unpopular among the American public. So why does Trump, both reportedly behind the scenes and publicly, not understand that and thinks that he can go ahead and do whatever he wants? He's not taking off, as we covered in a previous segment, Levitt was refusing to take off the table a draft and boots on the ground, an invasion, which would be in the interest of taking over or doing regime change in Iran. How would those things, at least to reassure the American public, given that there hasn't been many reassurances given, there hasn't been a plan that is laid out to make people feel calmed and trusting of the administration. There's actually a lot of contradictions. How does he not feel the need to take certain things off the table, give assurances to the public? Well, here's why. And I think this video, and then I'll back it up with a different little data point. This video tells you why. It's one little instance, one little anecdote, but this is the world Trump is in. So watch this. I think he's at his Doral Club. He gets up from the table. Him getting up from the table, from what I can tell, Patriot Takes has this. Trump's Doral guests clapping for him after finishing his meal in the dining room. Assistant Natalie Harb can be seen behind him carrying the supply bag. So all he did was eat a meal, I guess, and then stand up, and this is the reaction he gets from the crowd. Okay, so I play that for you. Again, it seems very, yeah, we've seen a bazillion of these videos, but really think about this is the world that he's in. I don't even know when this is from. Maybe really recently, maybe not. We watch him, he'll walk into the dining room of Mar-a-Lago or Doral, and it's cheers and, oh my gosh, please sign this. And sure, a lot of presidents get that reaction if they walk around, especially in their own clubs. But this is everyone. This is, yes, random people who are predisposed to like him because they're at his club. It's also all of his staff. He's being surrounded by people who are not going to question, actually will cheer on every one of his decisions. Just the quickest pause for the video amid all of this chaos. If you do appreciate these updates, please click the subscribe button, click the like button. Both of those are completely free, but subscribe is the most important to support what we do. Back to the video. And you all know my lack of respect or trust for Tucker Carlson, but he went viral for saying he spoke to someone within the administration who had this information to leak.
So as I said, I flipped to DC 3 times in the last month to try to convince Trump not to do this. It didn't work. It happens. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, boy, this is not going to get better. So then I think I'll fly up again and ask him. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is doing it, so I'm going to try to just declare victory and go home. Like, you killed an 86-year-old cleric. Let's just call that a win and then pull back. And so then meantime, he got convinced to denounce me. Okay. I don't care. I'm going to fly up anyway and see him, right? Even though he's like denouncing me. So I call over there to see, call someone who knows him to see. I said, I'm just going to fly up anyway and tell him this because I think it's so important. And the person says, don't bother, because he's being shown polling that this war is like a 90-10 win for him. And I said, I don't know where that polling is coming from. It's like, I guess you could make any kind of poll, and he's watching Fox News, which is telling him the same thing, and he's getting fake polling. I guess they're only polling Sean Hannity's viewers or something. And so I'm not sure that there's a sense, as if this was yesterday, because I was getting so agitated and worried. I don't think that there's a sense that this is unpopular. Like, I think there's an information vacuum here.
I'll play a little bit more of this, but just like he walks into a room and it's a pre-curated group to cheer him on, just like he walks into a meeting and all the staff are already either required or nearly so to, yes, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, cheer him on. Then people who have an ideological reason to push him in this direction are presenting to him, because they know this is like the only way he's going to leave a meeting happy, polling data that says he's on the 90 side of a 90-10 issue, meaning 90% he's being told 90% of Americans support this. Or maybe they're finding polling about certain Republicans. Now, I think that's like mind blowing. The majority of Americans don't support this. Maybe they're going and finding like, this can be slightly silly, but people who are following his Truth Social account, who have been to 5 rallies, and who also consistently like Caroline Leavitt posts, Trump posts, Trump Jr. posts, Pete Hegseth posts. People who fall into that category is a 90-10 issue. Like, or just actual people who still approve of him, then pulling them. I don't know where that's coming from. Could just be his most loyal followers. But as a general rule, or the general data on this, that's not true. But he's being told that. And this is not to do what I'm so annoyed with people doing, which is, I'm sure he has the best intentions, but it's just bad people are in his ear. He's just being convinced into things he doesn't want to do. No, this is him. He's making the decision. But he chooses to surround himself with people who will delude him into convincing him everything he's doing is right. This is the bubble that he's in, which should scare us.
There's a massive information vacuum. And, for the president and the administration who declared victory based on internet and vibes and podcasts, let's take a survey, shall we, of every podcast that he appeared on.
Right.
And how do they feel about the Iran conflict? You can look very clearly for yourself. You can look at a lot of the polling of that same demographic, which they were very excited about, young men in particular. How are they feeling about this conflict? And, if you were saying 90-10, it's not even true in the Republican sense. I mean, the latest one that I saw was like 72% Republicans, which, by the way, Mr. President and everybody in the administration, Bush had 93 for Iraq. And how did that turn out for him? So let's not put all of our eggs in the basket of just because Republican voters are here, that this is all going to be like sunshine and roses. And I also would not make the spurious claim that it's all about Iran. It's about compounding effects. The gas price effect of the Iran conflict is going to be dramatically more important to the White House's political chances in the midterms than anything that's actually happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's a notable point. One of the things, I'll go on international shows recently, a Ukrainian TV station that I connected with when I was in Ukraine. And so we stayed in touch, and I recently did another interview there, and they'll ask a lot, tell me about the impact that, Russia's invasion of Ukraine is having on American voters, or what is their stance on it, or how much are they keeping up with it, or this international issue or that one. And the rule that I generally go with, that I've learned talking to a lot of people and looking at a lot of polling, for the most part, electorally, it's not foreign policy that makes the difference in the same way that the economy will. In general, Americans' focus is not going to be as consistently on an issue like Ukraine, as much as I wish people would be more engaged in that and seeing the broader importance and caring about the issue. It's just true, and I have to kind of break that news to people in other countries' audiences of, as engaged as I am in that context, Russia's invasion of Ukraine and advocating for Ukraine's defense of itself, there is a detachment for most Americans. This is different because we're at war. It's not just supporting an ally defending. We're at war, but still, it probably won't have the impact that the economic aftermath will. And one of the things, this would drive me crazy. Trump promised to cut energy prices in half, 50%, okay? These days, he might describe that as a decrease of 5,000%. But he said he was going to cut it by 50%. And that didn't happen. Household electricity bills are up. But then he would point to gas prices and like a modest decrease in gas prices as the only indicator that was nowhere near what he promised, but was some decrease in the price. At one point, they put up a graphic and it was like a cent down. And that was Trump decreasing gas prices. But now even that he was trying to hold on to as one of his big economic affordability achievements, which still was being way overstated. And Trump would say it's like under $2 everywhere. has shot up dramatically. And that probably will be, as crazy as this is to think about, a more catalyzing factor for disapproval of Trump than even the war itself. Now you have to see this. Trump's watching Fox News a lot, which he's not going to see much criticism of himself on, which was referenced there. And actually, it's not just that they won't criticize him aggressively, it's that they will do insane things, they say accidentally, this seemed kind of purposeful, to defend him. Trump got some backlash for wearing a baseball cap at the dignified transfer of fallen soldiers, the same soldiers that he had said that's the way it is after their deaths. But he got backlash because that seems very casual. You're like, oh, right off the golf course, still have my hat on. And Fox News was running, not once, multiple times, footage while they would talk about this of a different dignified transfer where he was wearing a more appropriate outfit.
Turning now to your headlines, President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Secretary Lady Usha Vance attending a dignified transfer to honor the final homecoming of the 6 U.S. service members killed in Kuwait. The solemn ritual returns the remains of troops killed in action. It is considered one of the most somber duties of a commander-in-chief. President Trump promising the nation that they will all be removed.
Okay, so that footage they're showing is not from this dignified transfer. This is a shot from the actual dignified transfer. Where, say what you will, I don't get too focused on like what the outfit is of the president during something, but now we just have so many factors of his disrespect, the suckers and losers comment, that's the way it is comment, his attacks against the service of John McCain. And so then with it's just another addition. And for them to use other footage seems oh so very obviously purposeful.
Before we move on, we want to acknowledge a mistake made earlier on our program. During our coverage of yesterday's dignified transfer, we inadvertently aired video from an older dignified transfer instead of the ceremony that took place yesterday. We deeply regret the error and extend our respect and condolences to the service members.
Okay, so that was the apology. Brian Stelter said Fox and Friends acknowledged a mistake today after, in the words of Griff Jenkins, we inadvertently aired video from an older dignified transfer instead of the ceremony that took place yesterday. The error wasn't limited just to Fox and Friends, though. Quick scan showed both last night's The Big Weekend Show and this morning's Fox News Sunday also used the wrong footage, while last night's My View with Laura Trump used the correct footage. Critics on here asserted that Fox ran the wrong footage to hide the fact that Trump wore a white USA hat during the solemn event, an act that was denounced as disrespectful. So that's just one example. You might not think that's the biggest deal in the world, but we already saw the disrespect that came from Trump, even specifically with these heroes' lives, and the fact that he has much responsibility in making the decisions to put their lives at risk. And the responsibility ultimately lies with the Iranian strike, obviously. And Trump has made a decision that he is struggling to justify, and he should be held responsible as well. So this kind of added to the outrage about that. And then for the Fox News team to accidentally, supposedly, run footage that makes him look better just tells you the world he's living in. He's literally watching what's supposed to be a news station that bends over backwards, maybe inadvertently, but usually vertently, very purposefully, that bends over backwards to make him look better and to not hurt his feelings. So then at one point, Fox just stopped showing. They used the footage now from the correct dignified transfer, but just stopped showing Trump in it.
President Trump and the First Lady joined grieving families at Dover Air Force Base yesterday to honor 6 fallen U.S. soldiers. These heroes lost their lives in a drone strike in Kuwait, marking a somber moment in the conflict with Iran. Here with the significance of the moment.
Nope. Now they're not even showing. So this is between he gets up, yay, you ate your meal. A very like Kim Jong-un crowd. To the Lindsey Graham, I don't even need to show you this clip, but I mean, look, Trump or Lindsey Graham showing up, showing on Fox News, free Cuba. He's wanting us to go and invade Cuba now. And
Our military.
Obviously very hyped about the Iran war. And then he's watching a channel that is completely doing everything to be his own propaganda arm, and then he's getting people to show him polling that makes him seem like he's the most popular ever. So if your question is, will the public outrage over this necessarily sway him? He's very good at deluding himself with yes men around him. So probably not.